Hello everyone. So this series of videos will be majorly focusing on the practice questions for AWS Certified Developer Associate exam. So guys, if you're also planning to clear AWS Certified Developer Associate exam, it is very important to go through to the practice questions because 80 to 90% of the exam will come from the practice questions concepts. What I mean is that it will not match word by word from the practice questions, but the underlying concept on which the question is getting built on would be the same. So I will give it a try in this series of videos of practice questions to help you to understand how to read a question, how to decode the question, and how to select the answer. So let's begin. So the first question that we wanted to take in this session will be focusing on DynamoDB, Lambda, and IAMs. So let's understand the question line by line. So a developer has created an AWS Lambda function that is written in Python. So guys, whenever you're reading the question, what you should do, you should take a piece of paper while in your exam and you should just start drawing whatever the question is talking about, right? So for example, the first line talking about a developer has created an AWS Lambda function, which means what we are dealing with is one Lambda function, right? So yeah, so basically so we have one Lambda function which we are dealing with. Now second line is saying the Lambda function reads from objects in S3 and writes data to Amazon DynamoDB table, right? So what it's saying that the Lambda function is reading the data from S3 bucket. Okay, so we have an S3 which is associated with Lambda, and the Lambda function writes data to an Amazon DynamoDB table. So basically the Lambda reads from it and writes to the Dynamo table. Okay, the function is successfully invoked from S3 when notification when the object is created. So basically, as and when the objects get put into the S3 bucket, it sends an invocation to Lambda, and that is happening all green, right? Which is like saying that this is working all fine. So this part is all good, right? However, the function fails when it attempts to write to the DynamoDB table what is the most likely cause of this issue. So in the next line, what is saying that, however, Lambda is not able to write to DynamoDB table when it is attempting. So I hope you are able to understand the question what it's talking about. We have a developer who has created the Lambda function. This is the Lambda function a developer has created. Now, what is saying that there's an S3 bucket, and as and when we put the S3 objects in S3 bucket, it sends an invocation to Lambda which is working all good. However, when the Lambda code is trying to write the data to DynamoDB, it is not working, right? So guys, I hope you understood, like whenever you read a question, you need to start visualizing the question, okay? You need to draw a diagram, you need to just visualize what it's talking about. Otherwise, it becomes very clumsy and confusing what the question is talking about, right? Now, the question was saying that Lambda is not able to write to DynamoDB. This is the concept, right? Now, what can be the issue, right? So I just want to give you 10-second time and to realize to take your answers, and then we'll see the right answer. All right. So did you choose your answer? So let's see what's the right answer. Okay, so now we have the answers. So the option number A, the Lambda function's concurrency limit has been exceeded. This is incorrect, as if the Lambda function's concurrency has been exceeded, It has nothing related to access to DynamoDB. We are not saying that we are not we are not seeing the Lambda function not working, right? We are saying that Lambda function is getting executed, but it is failing while connecting to DynamoDB. So the problem is with this integration, right? So this is incorrect. Concurrency is incorrect. DynamoDB table requires global secondary index. This is again incorrect. It has nothing to do with the Lambda and DynamoDB integration. The Lambda function doesn't have the IAM permission to write to DynamoDB, and this is correct answer, as Lambda function must have the permission to write to the DynamoDB, right? So this is the answer, guys. The last option was the DynamoDB table not running in the same AG as Lambda function. So as we know that the Lambda function and DynamoDB are not associated with any of the AZ. It is basically more on the region-wise thing. So we cannot say that Lambda is running on one AZ and not other AZ. So this is incorrect again. So the correct answer is the Lambda function doesn't have the IAM permission to write to DynamoDB. Alright guys, so this was the first question which we solved. I hope it helped you to understand like how to decode the question and how to get to the answer. So I'll be sharing more videos on certain practice question exams, practice questions, which will help you a lot to understand like how to solve the questions which comes under the exams. Yeah. Alright guys, so thank you and have a great day. Cheers, bye bye.